Now, there's a damn good reason that The Elder Scrolls Skyrim continues to be released on just about every single gaming platform almost 15 years after its original launch. Bethesda's iconic RPG remains one of the most beloved video games ever made, with a stunning open world that you've probably spent hundreds if not thousands of hours drinking in by this point in time. Skyrim is arguably more of a lifestyle than it is a video game for so many fans, but even so, after 15 years you might start to get a hankering for something new. Something new that is obviously still in the same richly immersive vein as The Elder Scrolls' finest mind. And so look no further than these 10 in the pipeline games, each of which could scratch that Skyrim itch while you wait for the inevitable PS6 release in 2028. I'm only slightly joking about that. So let's have a chat, as I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are 10 upcoming games like Skyrim you need to know about. Number 10, Crimson Desert. If you're looking for a gigantic, gorgeous fantasy world to lose yourself in, Crimson Desert just might be the ticket. Pearl Abyss's spin-off of their popular MMO Black Desert Online reportedly touts a map twice the size of Skyrim's, but more importantly, it seems to be doing a lot with it. Players will be thrown into the lush world of Puel for a pretty typical save-the-world story, but outside of its main narrative, you'll be able to explore the lands unimpeded on both horseback and dragon, while stopping off to wrangle sheep, forage mushrooms, ride hot air balloons, go pole vaulting, and so on. Thanks to Pearl Abyss's proprietary Black Space engine, Crimson Desert is unquestionably one of the most visually stunning RPGs ever made. And while such an ambitious AAA treatment is risky, everything we've seen so far seems to suggest that the developer is going to knock it out of the park, and then some. In the very least, it'll probably pull you away from Skyrim for about 100 hours or 200 hours maybe. Crimson Desert will release for PC, PS5, and Xbox consoles on March the 19th. Number 9, The Wayward Realms. It's simply impossible not to include The Wayward Realms on this list, considering that it's a new open-world RPG from two co-creators of the Elder Scrolls franchise, Ted Peterson and the late Julian LaFay. The duo headed up development of the first two Elder Scrolls games, Arena and Daggerfall, and so their new game is intended to be a spiritual successor to both. Given that Skyrim wouldn't exist without Peterson and LaFay's sublime work, it tracks that a new RPG from the pair should be of enormous interest to Skyrim fans. The Wayward Realms will unfold from a first-person perspective and is set on a series of more than 100 islands known as the Archipelago, where various kingdoms fight for power. It's set to include all of the expected fantasy RPG staples, as well as a procedurally generated open world, spell casting, and complex faction and class creation systems. Intriguingly, the game will forego a traditional questline in favour of a dynamic story that is guided by the player's actions, akin to a games master in a tabletop RPG. The Wayward Realms is currently in development for PC.
Hey guys, I just gotta have a quick word with you about today's video sponsor. It's us, FGS. Subscribe to our channel. There's no sponsorships going on here at the moment, so why not just take the time out your day to subscribe to our channel, help us out. See you later.
Number 8, Fatekeeper. Fatekeeper shares enough of Skyrim's DNA that some online have actually rather ungenerously dubbed it as a Skyrim clone, but Paraglacial's action RPG is perhaps better described as a giddy mix of Skyrim, Dark Souls, and cult classic RPG Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. Oh boy. It's worth noting up front, however, that Fatekeeper isn't open world like Skyrim, opting instead for a series of explorable mini-hubs with a narrative that's said to be mostly linear and straightforward. Yet, the shades of Skyrim are evident in its earthy medieval world and crunchy combat. Fatekeeper does seem to strike a bit of a meaner tone though, given the brutal potential of its gooey, blood-splashed melee and magic warfare. It'll also benefit from something that the Elder Scrolls franchise will never touch, and that is the eye-wateringly magical powers of Unreal Engine 5. There's still a whole lot that we don't know about Fatekeeper, but as Scrolls likes go, it's made one hell of an impression so far. Number 7, World of Anterra. And now for something completely different, an RPG that is very clearly inspired by Skyrim, albeit rendered in a totally different style. World of Anterra has been affectionately dubbed pixel art Skyrim by some online, with indie studio 81 Monkeys fashioning their lush open world in the vein of a 16-bit title that you might expect to have played on the SNES. The RPG's Kickstarter raised more than triple the dev team's original funding goal, demonstrating just how much interest there is in this strangely cozy riff on traditional RPG tropes. 81 Monkeys has promised an ultra-detailed world bustling with life, a story packed with diverging narrative paths, and a streamlined party-based combat system. And while there are already a few 16-bit Skyrim demakes floating around in the world, World of Anterra looks like a more ambitious attempt to fuse the adventurous spirit of Scrolls games with the aesthetics of decades past. Number 6. Fable. Let's ping back to the AAA sphere now for what's quite arguably the single most anticipated RPG of 2026. Fable is a reboot of the much-loved RPG franchise, whose last mainline installment was Fable 3 all the way back in 2010. In the interim, the series has toyed around with spin-offs like the scrapped co-op game Fable Legends, but now, finally, a new full-fat Fable game is on the horizon. And horizon is certainly an apt word, given that the new Fable is being developed by Forza Horizon devs Playground Games. What we've seen from the game so far suggests that it boasts every bit the epic blockbuster production quality, vibrant world, rich characters and tasty action that you'd associate with Skyrim, even if Fable is fundamentally more whimsical in tone, which is evidenced by its cast including Brit comedians such as Richard Ayoade and Matt King. Hopefully Fable will achieve the dual task of bringing the long-dormant franchise back to prominence and making the wait for the next Elder Scrolls a little less agonizing. Number 5. Soulframe. Now, unlike every other game on this list, you won't actually need to open your wallet in order to play Soulframe. That's right, this spectacular new action RPG from Warframe creators Digital Extremes is a free-to-play affair, and considering how well that approach went with their ludicrously successful flagship game, it's easy to trust them a bit here. In Soulframe, you'll be tasked with taking on a world-devouring corruption with your trusty blade, bow, and magic, and just like Warframe, players can go it alone or bring along some pals in co-op. Open-world exploration, crafting, and Souls-inspired combat are said to be the order of the day. And while the tone may be a bit lighter than Skyrim, I mean it has a boss called the Wizard of Wastes for God's sake, it still feels like the platonic ideal of what a co-op Skyrim game might look like. Digital Extremes has been periodically alpha testing the game as of late, so keep your eyes peeled for the opportunity to get in on the ground floor. Number 4. The Blood of Dawnwalker. Its title might sound like a generic fantasy word salad, but the Blood of Dawnwalker is absolutely worth paying attention to, considering that developers Rebel Wolves is made up of ex-CD Projekt Red veterans. The game takes place in 14th century medieval Europe as players control Cohen, a human cursed with vampirism who has just 30 days to save his family, all while fighting to defeat the blood-sucking overlords that are oppressing the population. In addition to the nifty gimmick that this game takes place over 30 in-game days and nights, gameplay also changes significantly depending on the time of day. During daylight, you'll stalk your enemies with your sword, but at night, you'll be able to harness your bestial vampire abilities. Now, if none of this sounds very Skyrim-like to you, remember that Skyrim does let you turn into a vampire. Sure, this game may err on a darker shade of fantasy, but its mesmerizingly detailed open world will suck, hopefully not just suck, I'll finish the rest of the sentence, us all in, just like Skyrim did. Number 3. The Witcher 4. It's fair to say that the Witcher franchise is very much its own beast, but one also shouldn't deny just how influential Skyrim was on pretty much every open world RPG that followed it, and this certainly includes The Witcher 3, which was often dubbed as a Skyrim killer by games media pre-release. The Witcher 3 sure didn't kill Skyrim for all of its successes, but the aforementioned influence of Skyrim's dark fantasy world will surely continue to transpire through the franchise to the impending 4th game. From the mind-meltingly gorgeous Unreal Engine 5 footage that we've seen so far, The Witcher 4 just might be the best-looking RPG ever made, as this new trilogy shifts protagonist duties from Geralt of Rivia to his adopted daughter Ciri. Now, there's no reason not to expect another amazing open world that you'll wish you could visit for real, alongside satisfyingly complex combat and deeply compelling deep dish storytelling. The Witcher 4 is currently in development for PC, PS5, and Xbox consoles, but isn't expected to release until at least 2027. Boo.
There are no gods here. There are only monsters.
Number 2. Alkahest. The revealed trailer for Alkahest looks extremely Skyrim-coded from the jump, with glimpses of runaway carriages, flying arrows, and a gorgeously earthy medieval world. And look, it's a game where you can kick a goblin off a cliff like Gerard Butler in 300. I mean, what more could you possibly want in the year of our Lord 2026?
This is
Alkahest.
Alkahest unfolds in the kingdom of Cadanor, where 3 houses jostle for power, and as the young son of a petty lord, you seek to prove yourself in the harshly unforgiving land. Even though Alkahest is only a semi-open world game, like Skyrim, it places a strong emphasis on exploration away from its main story, with a bevy of castles and villages to seek out. Developer Push On has keenly stated their desire to deliver a bloke-free experience without the usual copy-paste fetch quest fluff, even though the game world nevertheless appears to be incredibly expansive. Combat, meanwhile, involves a fusion of creative close-quarters attacks and alchemy, the latter allowing you to experiment by mixing ingredients together to see what results they produce. news. And number 1, The Elder Scrolls 6. And finally, how could The Elder Scrolls 6 not take the number 1 spot? Believe it or not, the Skyrim sequel was first announced by Bethesda almost 8 years ago at E3 2018, making the teaser trailer older than Skyrim was when the teaser trailer first dropped. Even with the game having been in development for so long, we scarcely have any concrete details about it, except that development will once again be headed up by Bethesda honcho Todd Howard, and it will be the studio's second game to use their Creation Engine 2 following Starfield. We also know that Shirley Curry, better known as the iconic Skyrim Grandma, will be included in the game as an NPC, so that is very neat. The Elder Scrolls 6 is currently dated to release in 2026 or later, so don't expect to have it earlier than the end of 2027, but more likely 2028. As for platforms, while PC and Xbox systems are confirmed, and considering Microsoft's recent waning stance on exclusivity, a PS5 and or PS6 release seems almost certain. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 upcoming games like Skyrim that you need to know about. Hope you enjoyed that, and apologies if I sound a little bit ropey here, my friends. I've got a bit of a sore throat today, so hopefully that has only added a bit of husky tone enjoyment to your listening rather than you being concerned about whether or not I'm well. I'm fine, don't worry. And I hope that you are too. I hope that you are absolutely crushing it, my friends. I hope that you are having the best life. Remember, above all else, you're a massive ledge and you deserve the bloody best, all right? So get out there. You got this. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.